Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our new edition of Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers. We are here. This is the late afternoon / evening of day 28 in the house.
Yeah, so we're going to be moving our schedule around just a little bit because, as you guys know, I just became a mom and I have a toddler in the house. My husband works during the day and I'm with Felix. So in the evening when he's home, he's gotten home, we're having dinner, we're able to come up here and do some filming. So our going forward, our updates will be in the evening / late afternoon.
Yeah, and today that works out great because today we have so much to discuss here. I feel like watching this season that I have been invited to a bad player convention and everyone is there with their bad player booth and they're telling me about all these mistakes that they made. The only people not at this bad player convention right now might be your guy Vince.
Yep.
Zach, who I think is just attractive and relatively congenial and he doesn't get anyone mad. I'll throw my girl Ava in there, but it's just like
Yes.
all of you other people, maybe not Rachel, but you're an icon. You're separate from this. You people are driving me up the wall.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad gameplay going on this season, but it's okay because it does make for a much messier season. So it's not, even though we have been having a lot of the same people going up on the block over and over again, all the stuff in between, all the chatter, gossip, all the things that are going on, the bad gameplay, that stuff has been very exciting.
Yeah, and at the end of the day here, sound like Beast Mode Cowboy, Mickey, if you want to tank your own game, it's your decision to do so. You know, I wanted to be excited for you going into this season, but what a just disaster of a last 24 hours in the house.
Yeah, Mickey is making some game-changing mistakes by not really targeting Riley and getting him out. He is going to end up coming after her for whatever reason. She's got blinders on like this. I mean, you've already put him up, like just get him out.
Yeah, or at the very least, how about nominate Catherine? How about just do it so that you don't have any other enemies? Like split the two of them up. Just do anything other than what you have done. We will get into that. Trust me, we have so much to say. But before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we are going to be here with more Big Brother 27 live feed updates for the rest of the season. And also, if you guys didn't know, we are actively on that road to 75,000 subscribers, a huge milestone, 3/4 of the way to the big 100 grand that we still like dream about when we go to sleep at night.
I know we've been doing this a very, very long time now, and it is a dream of ours to get that play button and hit that 100,000. But we are on our way, and it's because of you guys. So thank you so much for subscribing. And if you want to talk to us further about Big Brother, you can head over to our Patreon. It's another great way to discuss Big Brother with us and also help support the channel. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Now, we're going to get into more of Mickey's disaster of the past 24 hours, but before that, I want to just sort of talk briefly about something with Rachel that I found very interesting. Like she had this conversation on Sunday afternoon with Mickey where she was talking about this idea of, oh, you know, maybe Ava should go up on the block. Maybe it's Ava's time. And I think there were a lot of people on BB Twitter at first kind of confused. Maybe you missed part of the conversation, but she was actually talking about herself using the code name as Ava because no one would ever target sweet precious Ava. Ava's not going on the block anytime. But it was Rachel's way of sort of having this conversation without it ever turning up on the show. I'm guessing the diary room probably still tried to ask about it. We'll see if it ever comes up. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be too hard on Rachel in this moment just because she does have young kids. She also went to Mickey later on in the day and was just like, you know, whatever I said about Ava being up there, it's squashed, it's done. But she just had a moment of weakness. It's natural.
It is. I mean, for the most part, you know, if you guys have been with us, we don't like it when people are just like, I give up, send me home, whatever. But this conversation felt more like she was pouring out kind of her feelings about it in Ava code, where she was having a moment that was really more reflective inside sort of everything that she was feeling.
Yeah, and I had this bizarre tinfoil hat theory for a while here where I was like, maybe this is all strategy. Maybe this is just her way, of getting sympathy and also being like, if you don't put Vince on the block this week, I'm just going to pack my stuff and go on home, because just like we are going to sleep thinking about 100,000 subscribers,
Mm-hmm.
Rachel is going to sleep every night thinking about Vince being on the block and Vince going to meet Julie Chen Moonves.
Listen, I understand why she's feeling this way. Vince is an excellent player. He
Yeah.
really is. And I know that there are people circling around and starting to be like, oh man, Vince is an excellent player. He
Yeah.
needs to get out of here. But she is really like on one road forward, and that road is get Vince out. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters.
Yeah. And it's like, timing, Rachel, timing. You're right to be afraid of him. He is a
Yes.
great player, but at the
Yes.
same time, you need to have a little bit of patience, and we'll get more into the lack of patience Rachel has later, because that's something that could easily blow up in her face depending on the next HOH. You know,
Yeah.
she hasn't won an HOH this season. We know from the past she's capable of it, but there's always like that element of randomness in this game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's get into the fact that as of last night, Mickey still didn't know for sure who she was nominating at that point. Like, we talked yesterday about this. Oh, is she really gonna put up Jimmy? Like, this is just bonkers. Like, there was a part of me that still wanted to think about this idea of like, okay, you know, maybe she's right to not trust Jimmy. Jimmy did put Amy on the block. He wasn't really locked in with them when he was HOH. Like,
Yeah.
I get all of that. But then there's also like Vince is talking to Morgan, and Vince is sort of saying, you know, Riley's not gonna forgive Mickey for what she did and taking that HOH. And I just sort of sit back, especially thinking a lot about this since our last update.
Mhm.
For those of you who don't know, I grew up in what was at one point in the 1990s a very tiny town called Little Elm, Texas, right next to where Keanu currently lives in McKinney. But
Mm.
anyway, I've come across many a cowpoke in my life who act like Riley and think like Riley. The one thing that's most important to Riley is his pride. He does not want to be made to look dumb, and you made him look dumb on TV, Mickey. Riley may come and be sad cowboy to you, but I do not understand for the life of me how Mickey doesn't see this or understand it.
Yeah, and I mean, in general, nobody wants to look dumb or look like a clown
Yeah.
on this show. And unfortunately, the power that Mickey got is very powerful, of course, and gives her like this huge chance to be HOH, but it
Yeah.
kind of does make the person who was HOH look like a bit of a dum dum, especially because she put him on the block. Like, if she had just taken the HOH and that was the power and was like, you know what, it's not really fair that I'm gonna like take it from him and put him on the block. I think he might have been able to kind of get through it a bit better. Be like, well, what am I supposed to do? It's a
Yeah.
twist. It's a power. She's got that power. She could have put me up, but she didn't. But, you know, she took the HOH. Okay, I'll get over that. But I think taking that HOH and then being like, and have yourself a seat is another thing that I think a lot of people would end up feeling really raw about and kind of like, cool, I look like a clown. Here I am in the clown car. Beep,
Yes.
beep.
It's just the situation here where Mickey has made this wide array of different mistakes when it just comes to bad thinking about this situation and what could end up happening. There is that big part of it with Riley and the fact that she did what she did. But then there's also this idea that she's taking this Riley apologizing to her at face value. And she also just assumes that, okay, if I don't nominate Catherine and then Riley's just up there on the block after, you know, Keanu uses the veto on himself, and then it's, you know, going to be Riley, Kelly, and then hypothetically Jimmy at this point, Riley's going to be fine. He's just going to be happy that Catherine's not up there. Yeah, sure. He's going to be happy that Catherine is not up there, but that doesn't make it all well and good. She just, for some reason, doesn't see that, doesn't understand it. It doesn't matter whether Vince warns Morgan about it or anybody else. It's just, some of it's just common sense that you can't trust somebody that you put on the block to ever have your back again.
Absolutely. And if you didn't want to make an enemy with him, why would you put him on the block at all? Like, yeah, take the HOH. You've got the power to do so. You earn that reward. Okay, so do that. But if you're then expecting him to be okay to then go on the block, like, I don't understand it. Why would you put him up if you don't want him out?
It's so, listen, I know I'm being a hater. I'm gonna continue to be a hater here for a moment.
No, it's just that the decision doesn't make any sense. If you're just like, oh, me and Riley, we're okay, or we're gonna be okay. It's
Yeah.
just like pick people then to put on the block that you actually want out of the
Yeah,
house.
and it's just also nobody seems to care about Catherine at all. Like Riley's the only person who seems to be upset about Catherine
Yeah.
going up on the block. And even the way Riley acts around Catherine isn't great. And like seeing them behave over the past 24 hours, he doesn't think, at least based on what we're seeing, he acts like he believes she has no like self-sovereignty in the game, that she can't think for herself, that he has to protect her and white knight her all the time, that she doesn't understand the game. When it's like, okay, Riley, I'm still not sure you understand how the veto works, so I don't think you can go around and parade this idea that you're some big brother expert.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other things that are really at fault here with Mickey's way of thinking is that anytime she's even started to stray towards the line of logic here, or at least towards the line of something other than, oh, I should put Jimmy on the block, she kind of gets talked back into it because Morgan wants Jimmy to go on the block, and she's putting a lot of stock in Morgan, but Morgan is also really, really close to Vince, and she's really close to Zach. And who do they want on the block? Yeah, sure. They're more than happy that Jimmy goes up on the block.
Yes.
Also, you are believing information from our guy Keanu, who, you know, is not a savant. I'm sorry, Keanu, but you still act like Jimmy and Rachel are floaters.
Yeah, I mean, he just still doesn't really understand the game at this point, but he's trying.
He's trying. Like there's a number of people who are trying. They're doing bad, but they're trying, and I will give them credit for
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I will give credit to Ashley. Like, I actually do think Ashley is getting a little bit better. I have promoted Ashley. You are no longer in the unholy trinity of Big Brother players. Now, Kelly and Keanu are sitting there by themselves. You have been upgraded slightly because not everything Ashley does works, but, you know, we did see everything with the HOH power. But even last night, she was having this conversation with Riley, and she was just kind of saying time and time again, no matter what happens at the veto ceremony, don't flip out, Riley. It felt like she was goading him to just lose his you-know-what because she wanted him to lose his temper so that Catherine would end up going on the block. Because Ashley doesn't want Jimmy up there. Ashley's close with Rachel now, and they're close with Jimmy. You know, Mickey and Morgan are like pseudo-aligned, but also doing their own thing.
And Ashley doesn't like Catherine. Catherine doesn't like Ashley. I mean, that's been going on since the beginning, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, I like a pot stir. You guys know, Messy B. I like it. So I'm happy that Ashley's still in the house stirring the pot, whether it's, you know, good gameplay or bad gameplay. I'm here for it. So if you want to be like, make sure you don't blow up, make sure you don't blow up, don't do it, don't do it, that he'd be like, well, why is it happening like this? Should I be blowing up? Because, you know, it kind of worked that way.
Okay, now we're going to go fully back to the bad player convention for a moment here with Morgan, because even though she didn't necessarily say this to Keanu's face, the idea that she vocalized this before the veto ceremony, basically being like, you know, if I get power, I should just ask Keanu, would you like to play in the veto, or would you just like to be the replacement nominee and be backdoored? It's like, yeah, you guys like Keanu a little bit more now, so you're giving him the dignity of knowing you're going to be putting him on the... Why are you saying this? At this point, you've also just screwed up your game so badly. You might as well just go ahead and align with Keanu.
Yeah, you might as well.
Okay, so the veto ceremony happens, and, you know, as expected, and our heads are just, like, completely melting off our faces. Jimmy is up on the block. Keanu uses the replacement nominee on himself.
Yeah, I mean... It was pretty expected. I mean, yesterday, even in our video, yeah, there was a little bit of talk about other people, obviously, but it felt pretty locked that it was going to end up being Jimmy, and it is.
Here's the thing. It's like, yeah, I knew in my head that was the case. I was in this denial because I just kept thinking, usually when people have bonkers ideas, like somebody goes and, you know, talks them out of it, but it never happened.
Yeah.
And Jimmy is now on the block, and I immediately after the veto ceremony is over, Mickey and Morgan, they had this comment, it's like, oh, Rachel seems more upset about this than she was when Amy was put on the block. Does that mean that she's really, really close to Jimmy? That she's even closer to Jimmy? Did we make the right move with that in mind?
Or maybe she was really trying to keep Amy. I mean, I'm not saying that she's not closer to one or the other, but it's a different strategy depending on the person that's on the block that you're trying to either get votes for or protect, of how you're going to play that out. This game is all about adapting and to each personality of the way that you want to move through that game to keep your allies.
Yeah, and I think with that in mind, Rachel, in the aftermath of all of this, like you can still see her kind of actively think, okay, you know what? I don't want to go too against people who I've been kind of sort of working with. So I don't want to act like I'm like super anti Mickey and Morgan, even though I'm upset about this move. So instead, she kind of goes to this default position now of, you know what? This is really Vince's fault. This is Vince's fault that this has happened. She is one step away. And Rachel, you know I love you. You know you're entertainment gold. We're getting very, very close at this point to Will leaving the pizza in the oven for too long, burning it, and her being like, Vince caused you to be away from the oven, Will. It is Vince's fault you burned this pizza.
I know. It is one track mind.
Yep.
Vince is the problem for all of it. And she's not wrong. He's my guy, Vince. He is playing amazing, and she is correct. He is the person to get out, but she's just not going about it right.
No, you have to pick and choose your battles, and this is a situation right now where you don't have any power. The veto ceremony is over. Yeah, I think you want to kind of get people thinking what they should do next at the next HOH. Like, I understand all of that. But I think you also need to be subtle when you know that, okay, there are certain people who Vince is working with, is close with. So you need to kind of watch the conversations. I mean, Jimmy's also out here now blaming Vince, blaming Zach. And it's like, yeah, sure, blame some of them. They had some social input in it. But it's like, it's still Mickey's decision. And it's still Morgan's assist in that decision, because like she's really close to Mickey. So it's like they're still the ones who actively did this.
Yes.
So Jimmy is already in this position, of course, and I don't fault him for this, where he's trying to like figure out and count the votes, be like, okay, what's going to happen here? He feels like, okay, you know, I probably have Ashley's vote. I probably have Ava's vote. I probably have Rachel's vote. And that's almost likely the case no matter what happens. Like, he's going to be close. He for some reason still thinks he's also kind of close with Lauren, not really realizing Lauren is actually still in the Big Brother house, guys. I know you may not seem that way this week.
I know. She's come out of her HOH and just slipped in under the rug of everything. Nobody's looking at her. Nobody's talking about her. Beauty.
Yeah, you're okay. Lauren, you're not going to the convention either. Okay, this is the thing with Lauren.
No way.
I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of how she's playing, because she's acting like she's afraid of everything and she's super tentative, but it's like it's a very effective strategy. Like, it has worked many, many times over the years. And Jimmy, you don't have her. She's probably going to do whatever Zach and or Vince want her to do.
Exactly.
Like, that's going to be what happens. But, you know, good on you, Jimmy, for thinking. Like, this is the thing. Jimmy may be cringe at times, and he is very, very much cringe. I'm rooting for Jimmy to stay because, one, I don't like Riley, and two, Jimmy's going to at least try to make good TV, even if it doesn't land all the time and somebody claps back at him. It's just like he is making an effort. Like, why do we want to be mad at someone who actually cares that this is a television show?
Yeah, he is still trying to make entertaining TV. He is, you know, in there gossiping about people, stirring the pot. I would much rather have Jimmy in this game, even though I am not rooting for Jimmy, than Riley. I'm not interested in that. And Kelly can stay because she's just... What a gong show. Oh my God.
Listen, this is the thing. I know some people out there are probably feeling like this season needs more serious strategists. It's sort of like there are these Survivor purists who are like, this season needs more strategy. And I'm just sitting here and being like, I've loved Survivor Gabon, the train wreck season, for years. This season could be that for Big Brother.
Well, it's also interesting too, because you do have players like Vince, who is very good.
Yes.
But then I'm kind of like, is he very good?
I knew we were going to get to this.
Or is he very good because he's in a house with Keanu and Kelly and Jimmy and all these Ashley, all these people that are really messy, and then the Catherines that aren't doing anything, and the Rileys that are popping off and getting angry.
Yeah.
I think he is good, but I would be more interested to see him come back in a season with a lot of other strategists, because he really is kind of the only one.
Yeah, I think Vince is very, very good. And to be totally honest here, if Rachel was not on this season, I feel like Vince would have like a Chelsea level of control or a Derek level of
Yeah,
control. Like I think that he is.
easy.
Yeah, it's just Rachel's also very smart, and she's played this
Yes.
game before, and so she
Yeah.
can clock a few more things. But Jimmy, he's already started his campaign to Catherine. Like, look at this Jimmy and Catherine conversation here, where he's trying to just sort of make sure that okay, if it's me and Kelly at the very least, because he's not a dum dum. He knows that she's not
Hmm.
going to get rid of Riley, but
Right.
it's like, if Kelly's up there, am I going to have a chance? And I do think, and we have a long way to go here, obviously, until the show airs on Thursday. But I think Jimmy can stay over Kelly because if Kelly finally loses a blockbuster and is actually fully vulnerable, why wouldn't you just want to go ahead and take her out other than just you feel like Jimmy is that much of a strategic threat?
Well, that's the thing. I think that people are seeing him playing both sides of the house. He's all over the place. He's gossiping about everybody. Yeah, Kelly is ridiculous and just bad at this game or whatever, but nobody seems to be, not nobody, but I mean, most people are just not taking her that seriously. Nobody thinks she's going to win, and
Yeah.
she won't. She's going to go up against anybody there. Like, I don't know who she beats in this cast, and that includes Catherine, who's done nothing.
Okay, if the final two is Catherine and Kelly, I think we need to be like, when there's NFL teams that lose every game for a season and they show up in the final game with bags over their heads, that may need to be all of us if it is the Kelly
Right?
Catherine final two. Okay,
Yep.
because here's the problem here with all of this is that I think Kelly is going to have a case, obviously, for staying over Jimmy.
Hmm.
But Kelly is doing the thing in Big Brother where she eats a banana, she throws the banana peel on the floor 5 feet in front of her, and then she walks, and then she trips on the banana peel, and she's just like, how did that get there? Like, she
She is driving the clown car.
okay, she is just sitting here and being like, Zach has said, oh, I'm counting on Kelly to win the blockbuster. I'm really hoping Kelly wins the blockbuster. Kelly, meanwhile, is telling Vince that she wants Zach on the block if she wins HOH. And Kelly is still mad about the vote this past time that, she's a little bit mad at Vince. I mean, she's gotten over it a little bit more, but she's still mad about being left out on this vote. And she's just sort of holding that against Zach over holding anything against anybody else. And it's not exactly like she's got a ton of friends anywhere else in the house either.
Yeah, that's the problem is she doesn't have other allies and she's not really going to be able to make other
Yeah.
allies. So, Kelly, if you're mad at Zach, just go talk to him. Like, if he's not going to come and talk to you, just put on your big girl pants and go and have a conversation and ask, why did you leave me out of it?
Yeah.
Oh, because of ABC, or I'm really sorry that we did. And then get over it, because if you don't, you're going to lose the people who are protecting you at this point.
If we're just going to have some real talk here, Kelly and Keanu, you guys just make a final two with each other and just recognize everyone else is just going to use you in this game until they don't need you anymore. That's just the way that
Yeah.
this is going to work, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is how it has been working.
Yeah, so with all of this in mind, I think Jimmy, of course, he's kind of starting to realize I need to do whatever I can, obviously. I need to make sure I have some people really, really in my corner. And
Mhm.
so he's really tried to build a bond with Rachel today, not like they didn't have one before,
Yeah.
but he's had some real trust moments with her. Like, he's confirmed with her that he's heard conversations from Morgan, Mickey, Zach, and Vince about, how they want Rachel to be the first juror, which is sort of one of the things that spawned her whole debating about maybe leaving the game in the first place.
Mhm.
Like, I think it's hard being the first juror and, being
Yeah.
away from your young kids for that long. But I think
Yeah.
hearing that's reassurance coming from Jimmy to Rachel, but then Jimmy has also come clean that he is not a tennis coach to her. And we all know how much everyone loves to build up their big job reveals like they're the biggest secret of all time.
Yep.
When I was on Beauty and the Geek, I didn't tell anyone that I won 16 grand on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And then I told them all the last night of filming after I was eliminated. They all just laughed in my face like it was the dumbest thing I had ever said.
It's interesting because if you were on another show, they may have cared to be like,
Yeah.
well, this guy's already won some
Yes,
money
that
on
was
a
my
show.
fear.
Exactly. I would have kept it a secret as well.
Yeah, it's just you get really paranoid about these things in the moment, and you're kind of just worried about like anything. Like if they think I know I'm a strategy consultant. If they know I've done something smart, then they'll know I'm a strategist. Where I'm just sort of like Jimmy. I think you might have given away already that you're a strategist, but I still understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, no, he made the right decision, and it did give him that opportunity that sometimes comes with the lie on these shows where it's like, oh, I'm a lawyer, I'm not going to tell
Yeah.
anybody, but then I'm going to just tell you to be able to build that bond with somebody.
My favorite thing, and I hope that this continues over the next few days, is Jimmy campaigning to Keanu. Like, this is rich. This is so. You thought that you could just send Keanu right out the door, and now you might actually need him. And given Keanu changes his mind about what game he's playing every 24 hours,
Yeah, I mean, come on, all bridges are burned.
it's just, it's just hilarious. I don't know how else. I think Jimmy's going to be very, very fun. I think Kelly's also going to be very, very fun of trying to just completely hurt her chances of staying in the game.
Yep, I'm really glad that Jimmy is out there campaigning and doing his best. I mean, even going to Keanu, I mean, you got to talk to everybody. You never know, right? Especially with Keanu, because yeah, he does blow where the wind takes him, sort of thing. But I appreciate somebody who's willing to really campaign.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a few more odds and ends here in this update. And really, this is, I think, the biggest issue I have with what Rachel is doing right now with Vince, even more than anything else we've said, is that Vince was just sort of having this casual conversation about trying to reassure people and, you know, make sure he's there for people. And he mentions to Rachel this idea of, okay, maybe I should be more reassuring to you. And she basically says to his face, I don't need to talk to you. And then she just walks out the door. Like, this is shades of Floaters Grab a Life Fest Kristen. And see, it's just like, you can't name people directly like at this point and just think it's gonna be okay.
I know. She needs to back off of this Vince thing and just see who's in power next.
Yes, because Vince is obviously paranoid. He's obviously gonna spiral as a result of all this, and you don't know what the next HOH is gonna be. Like, I think we can all say this with apologies to Adrian, that I think the wall comp could very well either be the next competition or the one after. You know, your guy Vince is not a particularly huge dude.
No.
I think Vince could do very, very well.
Yeah,
And do
could.
you want to get on Vince's bad side before he wins HOH again, which he might try to if he knows you're trying to get rid of him?
Yeah, and I mean, he has made really great connections with people.
Yeah.
So even if they get him on the block, I don't know that they're going to get him out.
Yeah. Okay. So here's another interesting side plot. The consequences, if you will, of everything Morgan and Mickey have done here. They've lost a lot of trust in Ashley and Will, who are now kind of actively thinking, well, you know, you guys made this move to get rid of Jimmy, who we didn't really want to get rid of, and you didn't include us in it. So it's just like, what sort of bond is there here? Like, why are we going to stick our necks out for you? And Will's made it especially vocal. He wants to find a way to keep Jimmy. And I think there's going to be some campaigning that is there. And I think where the numbers ultimately fall in all this, it's going to be interesting, because I think if Mickey starts to hear people coming back to her and just hearing that, oh, you know, your own allies aren't really that happy with this, I wonder if that regret is going to set in before the Thursday show, or it's just going to be like, okay, you know what? I've made enemies of all my former allies. I just need to be even closer now to Zach, to Vince, to even Keanu of all people, because what choice do I have?
Yeah, and if she really doesn't want Riley to go out the door and Jimmy's campaigning really hard and he's able to turn some heads, her allies are not happy, maybe they vote to keep Jimmy in and Riley goes out. I mean, it could be a real sort of blind side for her.
Yeah, it could really be. I mean, I think she's probably even blindsiding herself from a week ago when it comes to how she's thinking. Because like the last two things I have to say here are both just like jaw-dropping what are you thinking Mickey moments here, including this idea that she thinks that she has some of Kelly's trust. You do not have Kelly's trust. And I know that there's going to be BB Twitter people that are like, oh, Kelly volunteered to go on the block again this week. You know, she can't be mad at Mickey.
Kind of, not really.
Yeah, originally she was like, this is my birthday week. I don't really want to go up.
Yeah.
And Mickey acted like she heard her. And then they came back and had a conversation and Kelly was just like, oh, well, because at that point, I think she just thought it wasn't worth the fight anymore. But it's just, I know Kelly has volunteered to do this before. Doesn't mean she's going to be okay with it all the time. So you kind of don't really have Kelly. You don't have potentially Ashley and Will anymore. Like, who knows who else you were going to lose along the way here.
Yeah, if Riley stays, you definitely do not have
Yeah.
him. And if you don't have him, you probably won't end up
Yeah.
having Catherine.
And then on the flip side, you, Mickey, think that you need to have Riley in jury. What? Why? Why do we need to have Riley? Riley needs to go back. I heard there are some bulls that are like, Riley, I miss you. I need you to come back and do some buck and bronc. Like the bulls miss Riley. It is time for Riley to get him out of the game. It's not like I think Catherine is going to be, more interesting or likable with him gone, but at the same time, just separating that relationship with just no, I would just be much happier with that. Just keep the entertaining personalities, please.
I just feel like for the house, if they get rid of Riley, Catherine's not really a player. She's just kind of floating around. Perfect. That's the person you want to take to the end. She is not going to win anything.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of interesting final two GOAT possibilities. You guys need to start considering some of this. I am grateful, no matter what else, as sad as I am, that the idea that Jimmy could be going. I just like that we do have some different people on the block now. We have two people on the block entering Thursday that have not been here before. At least it feels different.
Yeah, I will say that as exciting as it has been to hear all the different bad gameplay and messiness, watching the same people up every week over and over and over again is getting really boring. Like, somebody make a different move. And I know it's really hard when you're playing the game because you're playing for a lot of money and you don't want to upset the house and on and on and on, but just the same, like, it's time, guys. Like, these two don't matter. Keanu, Kelly, over and over and over again. Just stop.
All right, Jimmy. Our hope for you is just be a total hot mess the next couple of days. Make as many great TV moments as you want. If you want to try to get on Amazing Race with Rachel or whatever else you might dream of, now is the time to make a name for yourself. Yeah. That's all I ask, Team Fun Feeds. Okay, that is our edition of Big Brother 27 live feed spoilers. Where are you guys at right now with Mickey as a game player? Are you all just crying and just, doing whatever you can, indulging in ice cream to make yourself feel better? Let us know in the comments. Hit that subscribe button and support us further by joining our Patreon. That link is in the description below. Thank you so much. We'll see you here next time.